Welcome to Cooking with Irma. Today, I'm just kidding. We're going to show you how to put on graphics. We have the kitchen here because this is where I assume most people are going to put their graphics on. So we will show you that process. So yeah, let's get into it. You're going to need 4 things. One is you need to have hands. If you don't have hands, it's going to be really tough. No, you need to have clean hands. Don't go out in the garage, clean your bike, come in and just put graphics on. Clean your hands good because the back side of these are sticky and you're going to get dirt, grime, whatever it is on them. Step 2 is clean plastics, either brand new or used ones. You're going to need to clean them. And even if they are brand new, our friends at Cherby's provided these plastics, but they do come with like a little film on them. So no matter what it is, clean your plastics. I used some just countertop cleaner and that worked fine. So step 3, you're going to need a heat gun. You can use an industrial heat gun like this, or you can use your mom's blow dryer, but make sure you ask her or she's going to get mad. The last step, you just need to make sure you're like in a warm environment. Bring the graphics inside, the plastics, or you can do it in the garage, but like today it's pretty cold outside, so maybe bring the bike in if you talk your wife or mom into letting you bring your bike in. And yeah, just don't do it in the cold because graphics don't like the cold. So let's start applying graphics. So for the most part, you're going to want to draw an imaginary line from this corner to this corner. And so this is the piece we're applying, is this one right here. So you draw an imaginary line straight in the middle, and that's going to be like your point where you're going to apply pressure. You will peel your graphic off with your clean hands, and you'll pick a corner. I'm going to start up here. And then from there, you're pretty flexible to do kind of, you can move it around, peel it back up if you need to, but line it up the best you can. And so right there looks good to me. And then that imaginary line I told you about, you're going to press down through the middle. And so from there, from that middle line you have, now you can peel back everything up top of that line, and you will slowly work your way up, and then you'll flip it over and work your way down. So from there, you just start pressing. This is where your heat comes into play. All you have to do is heat this up a little bit, and the graphics become really pliable. And so then you can work out these little creases, these little bubbles. Once you have the top half put on, then you kind of flip it over and do the bottom, pressing everything else out. This Yamaha one I'm currently doing is one of the easier ones. You might have a little more problems if you get into like a Honda, or Kawasaki ones are a little more difficult. That is one side put on. Make sure I usually just give it a once over, heat the edges of this so it's nice and adhered. All right, now that you've got the side plate, we will put on the air box. And don't be afraid to just peel the whole thing off. As long as you don't, touch it, or as long as your hands are clean, you're good. So from here, I start with the holes. You want to make sure the holes are lined up. So you just there's 2 holes on this particular one. I'm going to start with the lower one. You literally just press that baby down. And then from there, go to your other hole. Make sure that's going to line up, in which case it does. And you kind of fill in the gaps here. And don't be afraid to peel it back up, push it down. And from there, you kind of just work out up and down, making sure to get all the areas that you feel have not been pressed. So also, if you do apply the graphics on the bike, which sometimes I do prefer to put it on the bike so it's like stationary, but this part folds under the seat. So just make sure you take your seat off because some of the graphics do fold. This little crease here does fold under the seat, so just be wary of that. Okay, so now that your graphics should hopefully be on and look somewhat like this, you can go on to say like a shroud. And pretty much the basic same rules apply. You're going to want to line up the holes first, kind of put on, I would say this front shroud first, and then work your way back. Same thing, if you get any bubbles, if you get any creases, don't afraid to use heat. Here's a good example of the heat. Just heat up these wrinkles on the edge here. Don't go too much. You'll see when it gets like super pliable and it's like stretchy. But once you heat these up, and it's hard with one hand. And also, don't worry about too much if you get like, I think right there. You can probably see a tiny bubble. If you get these little air bubbles, maybe like in the middle where you're like, it's too far to pull the whole thing off, just poke it with a needle, a pen, something like that, and then apply heat, and it will suck the air right out. From there, I would say good luck, and thanks for buying. We'll see you next time.